Now, in addition, so you've got to provide them at account opening or account when you establish that relationship. There's also an annual notice requirement. So, in other words, every year, the general rule says you're going to provide this notice to your customers on a rolling basis. And so general delivery, look at C1 in the middle of your plan. You can provide it annually to your customers. Also, notice what it says in there. You see that in person, mail, electronically via e-sign. Keep in mind, if you're going to provide this notice electronically, you need to make sure that you follow the e-sign rules. I'm not going to go into a whole lot of detail on how these rules work, but just keep in mind that there's a process you have to go through where you give them the e-sign disclosures, you let them know kind of the rules of those electronic delivery, because this is a required disclosure. You have to go through the e-sign process first. So just sending it out in an email before you've built what I call the e-sign superhighway, you may get yourself into trouble that way. So keep in mind, if you're going to provide it electronically, you have to go through those e-sign, jump through those hoops before you do so. Now, the nice thing about this annual notice requirement is that there's actually a really big exception that applies to a lot of you. So there's a lot of financial institutions that fall into the exception. So really the exception is where the action's at here. So general rule, remember what we said, is you provide this Reg P notice on an annual basis. But then look at this exception. So the annual notice is not required, if you use the model form and the following conditions are met. Look at that A and B here. First off, there's been no changes. So you haven't changed your privacy policies or how you're sharing information or anything along those lines. And if you haven't changed anything, and look at letter B, no opt-out. So if you don't have any required opt-outs, and so you're not sharing information in a way, and we'll get to when this might be triggered, you're not sharing information in any way that would require you to give the customer an opt-out. If that's the case, so no changes and no opt-outs, then you don't have to do the annual delivery anymore. Now, if you remember back when this exception came out, I think it was back in 2018, there was also a requirement that you posted it on your website. That requirement's no longer there. A lot of financial institutions had already put their privacy notice out on their website. And if it's out there already and you've gone through the time, effort, and energy to get that on your website, that's fine. You can leave it out there if you'd like, but that's not a requirement to get this exception anymore. So you could take it down if you'd like. It's just another thing to make sure that you're updating over time if you do change your privacy notice. So